Angela Yee, and I'm here with my guy, Fred. You know him from Media Takeout, but he also has a lot of valuable information as we're talking about legal things that are happening in UT. All right, so Dame Dash is going to be auctioning off his movies, his business interests. All of these things are going up for sale. He is going to lose control of things like state property, that movie that he had. Also, his full ownership stakes in several companies and copyrights to several films and screenplays. He's approved this auction. That's all for a $4 million judgment that's owed to filmmaker Josh Weber.
Yeah, I mean, it's really kind of a sad state of affairs. I mean, Josh Weber and Dame Dash have been locked in some pretty ugly litigation for the past couple of years, and Dame Dash has been fighting kind of tooth and nail. Eventually he lost, and he lost big, and so now he basically has to sell all of those assets that he's worked so hard to put together.
Yes, in March 2025, it was a $4 million default judgment against him. And, he was sued for unpaid judgments and defamation. There was an earlier $800,000 judgment that was tied to this movie, Dear Frank. And so I guess, does that mean that $800,000 judgment has now ballooned?
Yeah, I think there's been
$4 million?
There's been a series of judgments. I think that was one of them. I think there's interest and penalties on that, right? Then there were some other things after that.
Oof.
So it's really, really ugly. But Dame Dash is the kind of guy that, he's a grinder, he's a hustler, and he'll get it all back.
All right, now Shannon, Sharpe, and Ocho Cinco, they have to go ahead and kind of delay their podcast run. They were going to do a tour for their podcast, but apparently they're going to delay that because of these allegations against him.
Yeah, I mean, that guy blew the bag. I could tell you that he was in deep negotiations with ESPN and other people to get as much as $100 million.
It felt like as soon as that announcement came out, then the allegations came out.
Yeah, I think it was all kind of tied together, right?
Yeah.
Because remember, even Shannon Sharpe's own lawyer said that he offered to pay this woman $10 million and
then she went ghost. At first they were in conversation, and then she went ghost.
Yeah.
And then came out with this, so they were all taken by surprise. But it's not going to happen now till summer of 2026. I guess he wants to iron these things out. If you were him, would you have postponed this right now? Because we also have talked behind the scenes about just pushing through when things are happening so you don't get canceled.
Yeah, I think you want to push through and keep the podcast going, which it looks like he's still doing. But you want to kind of remove all your partners from it. Your partners are going to get the stink of this. This is going to be an ugly lawsuit. This is going to be an ugly next year or so as he figures this thing out. You don't want your partners at ESPN, so he left that, and you don't want your partners in this concert to be caught up in.
All right, and lastly, it looks like Fivio might be getting home soon. He's been sitting in jail since January.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't even really realize that, but he did plead guilty to a terroristic threat charge, and that's in the hopes that he can get out of jail for probation. And that was for terroristic threats or the threat to commit a crime of violence in the third degree. He was originally facing 4 other charges, like aggravated assault and unlawful possession. These are expected to be dismissed because of this guilty plea.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think he spent some time in jail. He learned his lesson. From what I understand, there was no violence, no physical violence in this thing. Bring Fivio home and let him get back to music.
That's quite some time. All right, well, that is your UT. When we come back, under the radar, these are the stories that are not in the headlines. They're flying under the radar, but you definitely need to know about them anyway. And yeah, a lot of things. I hate that we have to talk about Trump every day, but how do we not? It's way up.